Hey friends, Michael here, and for today's video, I want to share with you my current productivity system to help me keep in track of all my tasks and things that are important for me for this year. It consists of two things. First is my Notion board, and secondly is my bullet journal. And so with that, let's get started.
So, for the past week, I've been working on a system that allows me to become more productive. And so far, it's been working. Mostly.
So Notion is a beast of an app, in my opinion, and I've used it for a lot of things, and I'll show you a little bit about that now.
So, central to my productivity system is Notion. It's an app for project management, note taking, and a whole bunch of other things.
So this is my current Notion dashboard that I'm using at the moment, and it's been helping me keep track of all my projects and tasks for this year. But I do expect it to change as my needs arise or if there's any sort of changes and experimentations that I want to do. But for this video, I'm going to show you my projects page and my one things action page. So as you can see, this is just a demo of some of my projects, not legit projects, maybe. But this is an example of my projects page. Now, as you can see here, I can just add here a new project, and I can identify here what the tags will be. So I'm gonna say, let's say video, and then release date for the video, I'll say next week. And then I can also mark this as done if it's done or not. I also have several views on this projects database. So we have here releases this week, release calendar, and checkpoint calendar. So it's all here. I'm going to show you how to create a database like this. So let me create a new page here. So let's say we create a new page. Let's say call it projects demo 2. And then I'm just gonna use here, I'm just gonna start with the empty page. Now in Notion, you only have one command in order to create stuff on it. So it starts off with a slash, and basically this will allow you to create stuff. So if you have AI assist, you'll be able to create stuff using AI, or you can create a text, a page, to-do list, headings, tables, bulleted lists, toggles, quotes, and a whole bunch more. For the purposes of this, however, we're just gonna create a new database. So I'm gonna go ahead and type slash database, and you can have database full page or database inline. If it's a database full page, it essentially creates a new page for that database. In this case, however, we already have an existing page. So I'm just gonna click database inline, and I'm gonna name this projects demo 2. And now you have here the name and tags. So the name will be the name of the project, and the tags will be whatever the tag will be for the project. So in this case, since this is empty, we can create here. You can put whatever you want here. You can even add emojis. So say I'm gonna put here this and say sponsor. If ever there's gonna be someone who's gonna sponsor me. There we go. I can delete all those and say click here for sponsor. And then let's say ad campaign for Nike. That's an example. All right. And then when you want to add other fields or other columns to your database, you just have to click this plus button over here. So in this case, I'm going to create a date. So it's an example, and then I can change the name of the column as well. In this case, I'll title it end date or due date. And then here at the right side, I can also change the icon for this column. So I'm going to change it to, let's say, exclamation point. There we go. That's cool. And I can change as well the date format. So if I want it to be a full date, day, month, year, month, day. Time format if I want it to be 24 or 12-hour format. Okay, so for this case, ad campaign for Nike. Let's say June. Yeah, say June. June 17. All right, cool. Now I also want to add here another column, which will be checkbox, and this will be to check if the project is done or not. So say done. All right, cool. That looks pretty good. Now, say if I want to add sub items or sub tasks for this project, how would I do that? Well, Notion just released a new update in which you can actually do that directly on their database. So if I go to here on the three dots here on the upper right corner and go to sub items, I can actually have the option to create a sub item. You can rename this as you want, but I'm just going to keep them as is and choose create. So now If I scroll here, you'll notice here on the side, that now I have this arrow thingy, which if I click, I can now create a new sub item for this project. So say ad campaign for Nike. I'm gonna shoot um, product video. So there's going to be a video. Due date for this, I want to be early, so let's say June 1 is the deadline. And I can also see, you can also see here, it automatically added two new columns, the parent item and the sub item. This would be helpful if you want to have an overview look of what sub items your parent item has. So for example, if I collapse this, ad campaign for Nike, it has a sub item of shoot product video. If I created a new sub item for this, let's say shoot product wear, it's gonna be a video too. And if I collapse this, you'll also see that that sub item now appears under sub items column. Now for me, it's kind of cumbersome to see them all here, so I'm just gonna choose to hide this column. So I can click this, right click this, hide in view, and that's going to hide that column for me. Do this as well. If you want to make that column appear again, all you gotta do is click this right thing over here, there's three dots, properties, and then as you can see, hidden in table, parent item and sub item, and you can just click this and it's going to appear all over again right there. You can also rearrange the columns, by the way. So say if I want this done column to be over here, I can drag it there. I can also shrink the width of each column, and yeah, so I'm just gonna hide this again. Cool. Now let's say if I have several more projects in mind, so say shoot new music video. So there's going to be a video, and say due date for this will be next month. All right, cool. And then say we have another one, photo shoot op for new branding. So it's gonna say, okay, so I don't have photography, so I'm gonna say photography, but I'm gonna add a camera emoji to make it extra fancy. Photography, there we go. That's video, sorry, and this is gonna be photography. All right, cool. And then for the due date, let's say next week. All right, sweet. Now that's just for my projects database, of course, and you can add whatever columns you like. You have several options here. You have number, select, multi-select, status, date, person, and a whole bunch more. Formula is an interesting one because you could basically customize the appearance of that column based off a formula, and there's like a ton of YouTube tutorials on that you can look up to. So I suggest you do that. Relation is also very interesting, and also roll-ups, which we don't have time to cover at the moment, but that's an example of how you can create databases in Notion and how you can create sub-items. Okay, so for the next page I'm gonna show you will be my One Thing actions. So as you know, I've been reading the One Thing book, and this is basically like my summary of my one thing for the entire year. So I have this page called One Thing for 2023, and this basically lists down my one thing goals for 2023. And the purpose for this page is basically to show or to remind me of what actions I need to take in order to achieve my one thing for 2023. So I've broken them down to monthly, and in this page I also have my weekly and my daily one thing. So as you can see, I have them here as toggle list, and if I click this, it's going to collapse down my one thing for the entire week, which I update this weekly. And then on the next one, I have my daily one thing, which I can collapse down, and I'll see here all my daily one thing for each and every single day, and I update this one every day. Now, the reason why this page is very important is because it all ties into my bullet journal, which is the next part to my productivity system. So as some of you may know, I've been reading the book called The One Thing, and I've been applying its principles as well. And this book basically asks one important question, which is, what is one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And the reason why you ask that question is basically to help you drill down on the bare essentials that you need to do in order to accomplish your goals. So the whole principle of the one thing is about finding your first domino. Once you find your first domino, it allows you to find the next one, and then the next one after that, and then the next one, and so on. And the whole idea is that as you topple the first domino, it creates a cascading effects on the rest of the dominoes, which in turn creates exponential results over time. Mind blown.
One thing I struggle with Notion is that it tends to get in the way of me trying to get stuff done. I need to open the app, write stuff down, close it, open it again, and it just causes a whole lot of friction. So instead of relying on Notion, I use a bullet journal.
Okay, so this is kind of a weird setup, but hopefully this will help you see how I write my bullet journal. So my bullet journal consists of three parts. So firstly is the date, which I write like this. So today's the date is the way I write my date is the 0 and 1 is the month, 13 for the date, and 2023 for the year. And for this one, that's basically the abbreviation for the day of the week. The next part is my one thing, which I write like this to signify that this section is for my one thing. And the one thing part of my bullet journal is basically to help remind myself that these things are a must do every single day. And this helps me to keep in track of my one thing for the entire year. Now, does this mean that I always am consistent of doing my one thing? Not necessarily, but at least I have it top of mind that these are things which matter in order for me to accomplish my one thing for the entire year. So say for example for this year, I want to learn how to play guitar. So I'm going to put here learn the fretboard. Now, the period here signifies that this is the task that needs to be done. And this is a common theme in the bullet journal, according to Ryder. Every period or dot here signifies a task. All right, cool. So once I have this done, now I go to the third part of my bullet journal, which is basically all my other tasks, which is like my work or meeting schedules, etc. All right. Now, if I have any meetings for today, it's signified by a circle, like so. And once I'm done with any of the tasks, it's easy. I just have to put an X on it, like so. So I'm done shooting this video. Boom. And if I am done meeting with my people for the day, I can just circle or fill out circle, like so. If I need to take notes during the day and I don't want to put them on Notion, but just any random notes of any random notes, I just have to indicate with a dash and put here is some random ideas. So that's how I take notes in a bullet journal. Both my Notion page and my bullet journal has helped me with my productivity for this year. However, as the year goes along, I do expect that to change. The more that I learn something, the more I'll adapt. When new needs arise, I need to adapt my productivity system for those needs. And so this leads me to my most important point. Do whatever works for you. Adapt to a system, change it as you go along, and see what works. It's an ongoing process of learning and growth, and so don't be afraid to experiment and see what works for you. And as always, invite God into the process and ask God for wisdom on what system will work for you. And so thank you so much guys for watching this video. If this has been helpful for you, leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more. And comment down below on what your current productivity system looks like, and let's inspire each other with each other's inputs. And so with that guys, thank you again so much, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless. Hey Michael. Notion is a beast of an app. So bullet journaling was popularly, weird word. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but it's useful.